So, speaking of milking people, this one time I was at Sunset Park. It's this park north of campus. And I saw this woman breastfeeding with like a neck tattoo. And I was like, ma'am, you're gonna need to cover that up. People go here. So she put on a scarf. Like, and that's the thing, like, I don't understand how a breast can be seen as obscene or lewd or indecent when people are walking around with Chris Brown on the side of their fucking face. Literally, I've seen camouflage sweatpants, socks and sandals, and a Minions t-shirt. And if that's not illegal, how can you call a breast repulsive? Like, I don't know, I think it's kind of messed up that women can't show a part of their body that men can normally show. And I think that's one of the many indiscrepancies between the genders. A lot of people like to say though that there's actually women have more power. They like to bring up the fact male rights activists that in the rate of divorce, women are far more favored to get the child, and I do agree that's messed up. But I don't know why you're so worried, because if you're a male rights activist, chances are no one wants to have a kid with you. Well, guys, that's it for me for now, but please welcome to your next stage. It's her first time on the second floor stand-up stage. Please welcome very funny lady, Casey Black.
No? Oh, that's disappointing.
Hello. So I know what you guys are thinking. How was my spring break? Very thoughtful of you to ask. It was good, thank you. I did fly again though, which is always weird, because flying is weird, just how it is. But I got to my flight super early because I was flying alone for the first time, so I was really scared. And my flight was delayed, which happens when you get there early. So I looked around, I was like, all right, I gotta find some place to sit. So I looked around for the most non-threatening person I could find to sit next to, because I was traveling alone. And I looked around and I found a white woman who also didn't look like she wanted to get mugged. So I sat next to her. So we got to talking, and we were chatting, and she was telling me about the last time she flew, so she asked me about the last time I flew, and I said, oh, the last time I flew to Prague. It's a really beautiful city. If you didn't know, it's super well preserved because Hitler wanted to retire there, so he didn't bomb it, so it's great. And she looked at me, and she went, I hope he got to. I don't think anyone told her. One, he was awful. He no longer gets to pick where he retires. Two, he died. So he shot himself. And then we burned him. And then we scattered the ashes just in case. Three, even if he managed to round himself up, we all knew where he wanted to retire. It's a common fact. Maybe not super common, but everyone pretty much knew that he wanted to go to Prague. So isn't that the first place you'd look if Hitler suddenly came back to life? And I was like, yeah, no, we went to Prague. So I didn't say any of that because I didn't know her. Felt a little weird. I didn't feel like I should be having a conversation about Hitler's bad, a grown adult. So I just was like, okay. And she looked at me and she was like, you never know. We know. It's not like we lost him in the middle of the war. He just snuck away and someone looked up where did Hitler go? He led a pretty high-profile life, like we know. But I let that go too, because I still didn't know her, and it still wasn't a conversation I wanted to have. So I got on the plane, and aside from being really awkward, because I was right next to someone who thought Hitler could still be alive, there are new safety videos on the airplanes now. See, 2 years ago, Virgin Airlines put out a brand new safety video, and it's amazing. So good. It's basically a music video. It's not even a safety video. It's a new music video. It's in this massive warehouse, and they have a really catchy song. It's like pop, also some electronic mixed in there. They have an 8-year-old rapping with the voice of a 50-year-old. And they have a breakdancing portion, which is all the key ingredients for a catchy song. So they have that. And it's very obvious that they were just like, we want this to be as not awful as possible. Here's all the money we have. And United saw this and went, we'd also like to throw money at something. So they made a safety video called United Through the World. And it's basically them describing the rules to you in as weirdly a fashion as they could think of. So they have, for example, they have a woman in a golf cart explaining to you how a seatbelt works. And it's like, the golf cart's driving someplace, and the camera pans to her right, and there is a man in a very obvious Monsters costume, just trying to hit his ball out of the sand. First of all, golf carts don't have seatbelts. Feels like a poor choice of location to describe seatbelts. Literally any other place that has a seatbelt, like cars, I don't know, an airplane. Hey, one of those. And then there's also a llama on a very pretty mountain explaining to a bunch of teenage girls to please turn off their cell phones before takeoff. There's no explanation about how the llama can talk. Was that all I need? 2 seconds with a wizard bopping him on the head. That's all I needed. But they didn't explain that. So, but my favorite, absolutely favorite part of that video is there's a beach wedding happening. And you have the bride, she's over here, she's looking really nice. And then over here you have the man, she's obviously about to marry. And then behind her you have the flight attendant. Okay. Well, he is describing to the entire wedding, apparently, that if you're ever on an airplane and the power goes out, there are lighted strips to guide you to an exit. And then the power goes out, and there's no longer a man here. And the woman just looks around, she's like, babe? Babe? There's nothing. And then the guy's like, the flight attendant's like, yeah, okay, next seat. With no explanation at all. Which is, I thought about it and I was like, you know what? That's the way to do that video. Because, I don't know about you guys, but I've never felt safer than when unexplainable things are happening all around me. I think that's my time.